Now, when is a power pole too old and when should it be replaced? That's the question Checkpoint has been asking for the past 10 days since former Aurora Energy employee Richard Healy raised concerns about an ageing power pole in the Dunedin suburb of Green Island. An inspection of the pole in 2015 said it needed replacing, but 3 years on, it's still there. And with some power poles in Dunedin installed nearly a century ago, how many others are due for retirement? Timothy Brown went to find out.
So we're standing at a pole which is clearly distressed. It's been in the ground 90 years. This pole has simply collapsed.
That's Richard Healy's assessment of pole 71862 at the intersection of Hillside Road and Burns Street in South Dunedin. A wooden pole showing signs of a failed foundation installed nearly 100 years ago. A former Aurora staff member turned whistleblower, Richard Healy sparked an audit of the network by WorkSafe in 2016. Richard says this pole is just one of more than 200 around the city, well overdue for replacement. So how can 90-year-old poles, almost 100 years old, be on the network? Is that not unsafe?
Technically it might not be unsafe. If the pole was unusually strong when it went in, then maybe it's still in a safe condition. But law of averages would say any pole that old is well beyond its replacement date.
And in the case of pole 71862, it's not just the law of averages suggesting it may be due for replacement. Aurora's own assessment said as much last year. In 2016, the pole was mechanically tested and found to be condition 6, as good as new. But this is where things get confusing. This same pole was red tagged in 2017, a year after that mechanical test. The red tag meant it needed replacing. Now in 2018, the red tag is gone. It's now blue tagged, suggesting that after almost a century, the pole itself is safe. Mr. Healy says wooden poles are meant to have an operational life of 50 to 60 years, but our brief tour of the city found poles dating back to the 1920s and 1930s.
There's been 30 years of neglect here, and this is the result. But here's the thing, if you're going to have a risk-based strategy, you really need to accurately assess the risk. So here we've got a pole which was assessed as brand new 3 years ago, is critically damaged and in need of replacement 1 year ago, and now back to fear for its design purpose.
We asked council-owned Aurora how old a pole has to be before it's replaced. It refused to be interviewed but sent us this statement.
It's important we prioritise when to repair or replace a pole carefully, and the best method is to take a risk-based approach. In a small number of cases we do some age-based replacement.
Aurora just wouldn't say how old is too old. But Chorus, which owns other wooden poles around the city, would. Here's Chorus's Christchurch Field Capability Manager, Lee Jensen.
Depends on the vintage of the pole, as well as how it was treated and whether it's softwood, hardwood, larch, that sort of thing. So it really does depend.
Okay, can you give me a sort of time frame, a ballpark time frame of...
Yeah, look, those could be anywhere from 20 to 40 years, really.
Quite a difference. And Richard Healy says Aurora's use of hardwoods means they will get more life out of their poles, but not to the point of being almost 100 years old. After 10 days of inquiries, Aurora can still not tell us how many red-tagged poles it has in its network. Just this afternoon, Chorus confirmed there are 8 poles needing replacement on theirs, which brings us back to the pole which started our inquiry, pole 84194 in Green Island. 3 years ago it was red-tagged, then the tag was removed. Then in June it was red-tagged again. But after we asked how a pole on a dangerous lean full of rot could still be part of its network, Aurora assured us in a statement on Monday.
We expect our contractors will install the new pole tomorrow.
Meaning Tuesday. But it's the end of the week and the old pole is still there. No one at the site would say whether work will be finished today, and Aurora is still refusing to talk to us until the independent review of its assets is completed later this year. In Dunedin, for Checkpoint, Timothy Brown.